that um, yoga, at least the way I was teaching it, had a nice effect for about 2 hours to 2 days. And then I reverted back to the same stressed out being I was. I had the same responses to traffic and to paying bills and to my wife being annoying and to my kid. I was
Yeah.
relaxed and then I was pissed,
Yeah.
versus like, hey, can I take the information in and actually drop and sink and kind of be like diffuse it now versus diffuse it in a 2 hour practice stretch session.
Mhm. So one of the concepts that uh, we think about a lot with evolve move play is this idea of how do we take the benefits of the practice out of the practice. So, in a classic kind of physical training thing, we're looking for transfer training. So if we're doing jump training, we'd like the jump training to help make us faster. And if we're doing speed training, we'd like the speed training to help make us jump farther, right? Transfer training like that. Um, but we're starting to look at it as like, how does all the training contribute to the whole human?
Mm-hmm.
And John Verveakean has talked about that as bleed, right? So what is the bleed of this activity to something else? So you're able to access a state in yoga that's really valuable to you, but then you're noticing that it's not changing your default patterning in the rest of your life anymore. And you're trying to get
Right.
that thing that you're experiencing in yoga to actually bleed into your day-to-day interactions. So tell me a little bit about how you noticed that and then what you started to pursue and what changed. When did it start working and what was different that allowed it to actually transfer for you?
Hmm. So there were a few moments. I remember actually, I lived in Boston at the time. I was biking to the Sports Club LA, huge sports club there that um, I was employed by and had like a huge following there. I was biking on this fixed gear bicycle. My pant leg got caught in the pedal. So fixed gears bicycles, as the wheels turning, the pedals are turning. You can't stop. You can't coast, right?
Yeah.
I'm going over this bridge. There's a bus coming by. My pant leg gets stuck and I'm winding. It tears. The wheel stops. I flip and
Hmm.
everything is slow motion. And I just kind of did a nice little dive roll, doom, 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 jumped out of the way of the bus, got back on my bike. I was scraped up. I went to the yoga class, came in bloody. People expected that from Aaron. I taught an amazing class. And then I'm biking home. And some guy like cut me off and flipped me off. And I took my bike lock and I threw it at the car and I chased the person down and I screamed at them. They actually ended up getting away, right? But like, I was so worked up and reflecting on it, I was like, wow, I'm way out of balance. Like, I got my physical skills, my physical self honed, but somehow I don't know, like, I'm just ready to burst and explode at any moment, right? And there have been several instances of that where, like, perfect handstand, sit in meditation like a statue, you know. But like, if something is just slightly out of the ordinary or slightly, like I was just not, I could snap at any moment. And I didn't want to admit that to myself, but that moment somehow it's just like the contrast between the two biking there and biking home.
Yeah.
It was just like this. I could see that there was a split.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then I just had to like deal with that. Like my livelihood was teaching yoga. It clearly wasn't working on me in the way I wanted it to. Like I had a facade of calm,
Yeah.
and I was using yoga kind of as a coping mechanism to
Hmm.
like a band aid, right? Um, and but things are gradual. Like I just that realization stayed with me, and I started working with more relaxation. I started spending more time in nature. I started actually like backing off of some of the practices that I felt I needed. Like I would actually sit with, I'm feeling agitated, let me go practice. I would sit with that a little bit longer and be like, what should I actually, oh, maybe I need to like sweep, or maybe I need to just sit here and let it go. Um, so yeah, it took a lot of, I had this realization that often with a practice, we go into the practice to get some benefit from it.
Mhm.
I went into like yoga to get benefit from it, and I ended up serving yoga. Like
Yeah, yeah.
yoga kind of took me over, and I became the mouthpiece for yoga, and I kind of adapted the philosophies and like practiced every day so I could. There was something about like it's no longer serving me; I'm serving it, and now I want to step out. Like
Yeah.
it's I don't want to be an upholder of a system. I want to use what I can to like change my physiology, change my mind, body, spiritual being, so I can be of more service to the world, not service to the system. Um,
Yeah. I've had that same experience with especially parkour, but also martial arts, of sort of like devoting myself to it so much that it's not good for me, right?
right.
I was good in it, but it wasn't good for me. And it's interesting because I feel like I've had multiple epiphanies where I've recognized that and thought that I was and changed in some way, but actually subtly was still doing it. I feel like just
Right.
recently I've had another place where it's just like I actually don't have to be I don't have to pursue greatness in parkour at this stage of my life. Like I can enjoy
Mm,
it. I can still move towards arete and in it, but it's not necessarily what I need. Um,
mm.
and that's